Book of Enoch Chapter 6. They consider how the trees, when they put forth their green leaves, become covered and produce fruit, understanding everything, and knowing that He who lives forever does all these things for you. That the works at the beginning of every existing year, that all His works are subservient to Him and invariable. Yet as God has appointed, so are all things brought to pass. They see too how the seas and the rivers together complete their respective operations. But ye endure not patiently, nor fulfill the commandments of the Lord, but ye transgress and calumniate His greatness. And malignant are the words in your polluted mouths against His majesty. Ye withered in heart, no peace shall be to you. Therefore your days shall ye curse, and the years of your lives shall perish. Perpetual execration shall be multiplied, and ye shall not obtain mercy. In those days shall ye resign your peace with the eternal maledictions of all the righteous, and sinners shall perpetually execrate you, shall execrate you with the ungodly. The elect shall possess light, joy, and peace, and they shall inherit the earth. But ye unholy, shall be accursed. Then shall wisdom be given to the elect, all of whom shall live, and not again transgress by impiety or pride, but shall humble themselves, possessing prudence, and shall not repeat transgression. They shall not be condemned the whole period of their lives, nor die in torment and indignation, but the sum of their days shall be completed, and they shall grow old in peace, while the years of their happiness shall be multiplied with joy and with peace forever, the whole duration of their existence.
HAP Deep Dive Discussion. Book of Enoch, Chapter 6. Question 1. What is the primary contrast being established in this passage, and what does it reveal about the author's worldview? Answer. The passage establishes a sharp dualistic contrast between two groups, the righteous/elect and the wicked/unholy. The righteous are characterized by observance of natural order and God's works, patient endurance and obedience, humility and prudence, reception of wisdom, light, joy, and peace. The wicked are characterized by impatience and transgression, calumny against God's majesty, withered hearts and polluted speech, perpetual execration and denial of mercy. This reveals a worldview rooted in apocalyptic Judaism, where cosmic justice will ultimately triumph. The natural world itself becomes a witness and teacher. The trees, seas, and rivers obey God's commands perfectly, making human disobedience even more culpable by comparison. The passage suggests that moral alignment with divine order isn't merely ethical, but ontological. It determines one's fundamental nature and eternal destiny. Question 2. What is the significance of nature imagery, trees, seas, and rivers, in verses 1 through 3, and how does it function rhetorically? Answer. The nature imagery serves multiple rhetorical functions. As moral exemplar, trees that put forth their green leaves and produce fruit demonstrate perfect obedience to divine timing. They don't rebel against seasonal cycles or demand different conditions. They simply fulfill their purpose. This creates an implicit argument. If unconscious nature obeys God perfectly, how much more should rational humans? As witness, nature becomes evidence of God's sovereignty and reliable governance. The phrase, understanding everything and knowing that He who lives forever does all these things for you, suggests nature itself possesses a kind of wisdom through its perfect alignment with divine will. As contrast, the statement, "But ye endure not patiently," verse 4, hits harder immediately after describing nature's patient, cyclical obedience. The seas and rivers together complete their respective operations, while humans fail to complete theirs, keeping God's commandments. This reflects ancient Near Eastern wisdom literature traditions where creation itself becomes a teacher, similar to Job 38-41 or Psalm 19. The argument is essentially, the entire cosmos demonstrates order, reliability, and obedience. Your rebellion is therefore not just immoral, but cosmically absurd. Question 3. What does withered in heart, verse 5, suggest about the nature of sin and its consequences in this worldview? Answer. Withered in heart is a powerful metaphor that connects to the tree imagery earlier in the passage. While the righteous are like trees that put forth their green leaves and produce fruit, the wicked have hearts that have dried up, lost vitality, and become incapable of bearing fruit. This suggests several theological concepts. Sin as ontological damage. Sin isn't merely breaking rules, it's a state of being that causes internal deterioration. The heart, center of will and emotion in Hebrew thought, becomes desiccated and lifeless. Loss of shalom. The immediate consequence stated is no peace shall be to you. Peace in Hebrew thought encompasses wholeness, flourishing, and right relation. A withered heart cannot experience this integrated wholeness. It's fundamentally fragmented and dying. Self-inflicted punishment. The curse isn't arbitrary divine retribution, but the natural consequence of internal corruption. Just as a withered tree cannot bear fruit or provide shade, a withered heart cannot experience peace, joy, or blessing. This anticipates later Jewish and Christian concepts of sin as spiritual death or separation from the source of life, rather than merely legal transgression. Question 4. How does the concept of time function differently for the righteous versus the wicked in this passage? Answer. The passage presents a fascinating temporal reversal. For the wicked, verses 6-8, your days shall ye curse, the years of your lives shall perish, perpetual execration shall be multiplied. Time becomes an enemy. Each passing day brings more curse than blessing. Their years don't accumulate into a meaningful life story, but rather perish. They experience time as disintegration. For the righteous, verses 11 and 12, not be condemned the whole period of their lives. The sum of their days shall be completed. They shall grow old in peace. The years of their happiness shall be multiplied with joy. The whole duration of their existence is characterized by peace. This creates a profound irony. The wicked, who transgressed by not enduring patiently, verse 4, experience time as interminable suffering. The righteous, who patiently endured, experience time as accumulating blessing. The impatient inherit endless temporal torment. The patient inherit eternal temporal peace. This reflects a Hebrew understanding where blessing manifests as long life and peaceful days, as opposed to Greek notions of escaping time into eternal stasis. Question 5. What does verse 11 promise that the elect shall not again transgress by impiety or pride, suggest about human nature and transformation? Answer. This verse presents a striking claim about radical transformation that raises important theological questions. Eschatological transformation. The text suggests that wisdom given to the elect will fundamentally change their nature so they become incapable of transgression. This isn't just behavioral modification, but ontological transformation. They won't merely resist sin, but will not again transgress. Wisdom here functions as more than knowledge. It's transformative power that restructures the person. Once possessed, it makes transgression impossible, particularly impiety or pride, the root sins that separate humans from God. Humility as core virtue. The elect shall humble themselves, possessing prudence. Humility isn't merely a virtue among others, but the fundamental orientation that prevents transgression. Pride is implicitly identified as the root of all rebellion against God. Questions this raises: does this eliminate free will for the elect? Is this transformation gradual or instantaneous? What distinguishes those who receive this wisdom from those who don't? This concept influenced later Jewish mysticism and Christian theology, particularly regarding sanctification, glorification, and whether the redeemed can sin in the eschaton. It suggests that the ultimate divine solution to human sinfulness is not merely forgiveness, but transformation that makes sin psychologically impossible. Question 6. How does this passage's view of judgment and mercy compare to other biblical texts? Answer. This passage presents a notably harsh binary view of divine justice. Distinctive features: ye shall not obtain mercy, verse 6. Mercy appears completely unavailable to the wicked. Perpetual execration and eternal curse with no suggestion of restoration. The division between elect and non-elect appears fixed and final. Mutual execration. Righteous curse wicked, wicked curse righteous forever. Comparison to other texts. Harsher than. Ezekiel 18. I take no pleasure in the death of the wicked, but turn and live. Jonah. God's mercy extends even to wicked Nineveh. Some New Testament parables of lost sheep, prodigal son, emphasizing divine pursuit. Similar to Isaiah 66:24. The rebellious dead are objects of abhorrence. Psalm 1. The wicked perish while the righteous flourish. Some Dead Sea Scrolls texts with rigid elect-non-elect divisions. Theological implications. This reflects apocalyptic literature's tendency toward dualism and determinism. Written likely during periods of persecution, 2nd to 1st century BCE, it offers consolation to the suffering righteous by guaranteeing complete reversal. Their oppressors will receive no mercy, while they inherit everything. This raises difficult questions about the character of God and whether divine justice includes rehabilitation or only retribution. The complete absence of redemptive possibilities for the wicked represents one end of the biblical spectrum on these questions. Other texts present more nuanced views of divine mercy and human moral agency. Would you like me to explore any of these themes in greater depth, or examine how this passage relates to other sections of Enoch?
Impiety or pride. Suggest about human nature and transformation. Answer. This verse presents a striking claim about radical transformation that raises important theological questions. Eschatological transformation. The text suggests that wisdom given to the elect will fundamentally change their nature so they become incapable of transgression. This isn't just behavioral modification, but ontological transformation. They won't merely resist sin, but will not again transgress. The role of wisdom. Here, wisdom functions as more than knowledge. It's transformative power that restructures the person. Once possessed, it makes transgression impossible, particularly impiety or pride, the root sins that separate humans from God. Humility as core virtue. The elect shall humble themselves, possessing prudence. Humility isn't merely a virtue among others, but the fundamental orientation that prevents transgression. Pride is implicitly identified as the root of all rebellion against God. These questions raise: does this eliminate free will for the elect?
Is this transformation gradual or instantaneous? What distinguishes those who receive this wisdom from those who don't? This concept influenced later Jewish mysticism and Christian theology, particularly regarding sanctification, glorification, and whether the redeemed can sin in the eschaton. It suggests that the ultimate divine solution to human sinfulness is not merely forgiveness, but transformation that makes sin psychologically impossible. Would you like me to explore any of these themes in greater depth, or examine how this passage relates to other sections of Enoch?